Hello, I'm Rob McLam, St. Bonaventure Grad School. Discussion today is what do you think of Ted Williams Now? A Remembrance by Richard Ben Kramer as it appeared in Esquire magazine. What parts of the story resonate with you as a reader and a journalist, and why? We have some reference points here. Consider how Kramer uses all caps as emphasis. I do like that. That was a good idea. Maybe he could have done it where he just capitalized each word, maybe not necessarily every letter, but maybe the overall the way he approached it was better. I think Ted Williams is a dynamic figure, and I say is because even though he's long since passed away, he still is really, at least in baseball and probably in sport, one of those amazing, people who's kind of a caricature at the same time, but is also a hero. Ted Williams, an amazing baseball hitter. I actually have one of my prized sports pieces is an autographed picture of Ted Williams. He's with Babe Ruth in the photo. I got it from QVC many years ago. Just a dynamic figure in sports, and one of those that everybody wants to align themselves with, regardless of team leanings or political leanings or anything. I think most people want to align themselves with people like Ted Williams. He has that sort of panache. The emphasis on the caps, as I mentioned, his words hold a lot of weight. He's one of those that's, I don't know that curt is the right word, but he's direct. He's very straight to the point, and he's one of those people that when he speaks in a room, everybody would turn and listen. Or he's one of those who walks inside a room, everybody would turn and look at. Also the reporting in terms of using all the senses. I think it's common when, especially somewhere, if you're writing a story about the Keys, that would, sort of be Hemingway-like, the Florida Keys, reporting about the water and things like that. But I thought Kramer did a really good job of doing the same with Williams himself, if that makes any sense. He did a really good job of describing him and giving him context, and it was easy to visualize Ted Williams getting dressed up to go fishing, or barking at his wife, or who would then become his ex-wife, things like that. You get that mental image, and so many writers give you that that taste or that feel of what's around a person. But I think he did a really good job of describing Williams. And he didn't deify Williams. I think that's the most important thing. Ted Williams, sports people, they're not gods. They're human beings. They have flaws. They have issues. And he did a really good job of doing that in a way that a lot of people that like him are going to like him more. Some people are going to take a step back and pause and say, well, this isn't the guy I thought he was. Not in a bad way, but just sort of, maybe taken aback by his being, blunt. It reminds me of A Season on the Brink with Bob Knight, which was written by John Feinstein. And I noticed the date on the article was June 86. The Season on the Brink with John Feinstein was the 85-86 season of Indiana Hoosiers. So it either came out around the same time, or maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But maybe, I don't know if that was just sort of the style, or if it just was a coincidence those two come out at the same time. But basically, this story reminds me of a 2-3 day excursion akin to what Feinstein did with Bob Knight in Bloomington, Indiana, for an entire season. You take these two guys who happened to be really good friends, guys that would go fishing together, guys that were just hung out together and looked up to each other. And there's a lot of similarities to that. I would definitely recommend reading John Feinstein's book. I know as a young boy, I grew up, I played basketball, and I liked Indiana, and Feinstein's book didn't really scare me. But then as I got older, and I thought, had I been good enough to go play D1 basketball and went to Indiana, I might have paused, and I don't know if I would have prospered in that situation. So there's a pretty neat aspect to that. And again, I don't think it really hurts the person that's being profiled. The only person to be offended may be the person that's being profiled because they don't want that aura to be exposed or they don't want it to be broken, I should say. But I thought it was a really well written article. I can see where it had a lot of plaudits and a lot of praise in its time, and I certainly would encourage to read more of Kramer's work. So, thank you.